It only seems like yesterday the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 got announced, and par for the course, Monolith keeps on dropping little bits soon after. It was like that with the Definitive Edition, and once again, here we are now. With that said, hey everyone, welcome back to what I can only describe as a discussion of the little bits that has come out since the newest trailer of Xenoblade has come out. Yeah, so what we are going to be going over here are some of the little hints, tips, and the little droplets of info that have come from Nintendo themselves, as well as a few third-party sources. But let's caveat this, there will be slight spoilers for Xenoblade in terms of plot, in terms of its theming, and potentially some moments in Xenoblade 3 that might actually occur, depending on what the sources say with these links. So, with that said, let's get into it by, well, once again, just going over the release date. As you can see here from this image we're seeing here, it's like we're with every other game being delayed. You see Breath of the Wild 2, Advance Wars, Metroid Prime 4. It's like, nah, Monolith's like, nah, we're pushing things forward. And we might have a slight theory and a slight idea as to why that is. But let's pace ourselves and let's get to, well, let's start off with the simple things so far. And what more simple things is starting off with official box art of what Xenoblade 3 is going to look like once it hits store shelves. Again, something that has been in a motif for Xenoblade since its inception: green fields, characters, swords, and a massive titan of some description.
I wonder what the reversible cover is gonna look like.
You know what? That is actually a good idea. That's actually a good thing. It might be the landscape, it could be the characters, but we never know. We do have the American box art, so slight variations there, as well as, if memory serves, yeah, the contrast is a little bit different in terms of the box art here. So we've got a little bit of a more realistic lighting, whereas the Japanese version definitely more saturated.
Is that it, or is it just because of the fact that the qualities are different between the images?
It could be. It could be. But either way, that's the box art out of the way. So let's start off with what the special edition look is looking like up close. Again, nothing groundbreaking, but it is nice to see that instead of what has been for the Definitive Edition and Xenoblade 2, there is no icon, there is no symbol here, it's just literally the characters. It's a nice change of pace, especially seeing how the plot is going to consist of these 6 characters, so makes sense to have all 6 on the box art. But now that the boring stuff is over and done with, let's get to the main points of this video. And let's start off with official sources and official information that's come up from Nintendo themselves. So let's start off with the Auroboros transformations. Of course, the fusions between 2 characters in the Monolith 6 we have. Starting off, we have Noah and Mio. Their Ouroboros' design, for a start, it kind of reminds you of one of Dunban's Machina outfits back in the Definitive Edition, with the shoes, the horn, and the very sleek design. And plus the fact that he holds a sword as well. And it is noted that each Ouroboros does have a role to play in combat, but we'll get to that in a bit. And with this, its description is, check out the massive sword they wield during battle. It's pretty cool. Again, it keeps it vague, but you know what? It's what Xenoblade is all about, having swords that look cool.
I think it looks a lot like a sword legion.
It looks like a legion, it looks like a common blade with a little bit of the Dunban mixed in there. It's very vague, but I feel like that is on purpose. And we'll talk about that in a bit. Anyway though, moving on from Noah and Mio, we have Uni and Teons. Now this is definitely more focused as well in its design, its description, and definitely is in line with the characters and their roles. So let's go for the obvious ones. Of course, it's got the physical attributes of what Uni is. It's got a feminine outlook, let's put it that way. It's got a mix of high end to your wings, and it also has a bit of an insect motif.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, it might be similar to what Taeon's attack patterns might be, but who knows up till this point. One final thing to note about this design is its ability in its description. They'll have a powerful ability, to revive all fallen allies at once during battle. Now, this, on the surface level, looks to be a little bit broken, because you have, if this Auroboros is in play, you have 5 characters who potentially could all be dead.
Yeah.
And you can revive all 5 of them at once. Now that seems pretty goddamn cool, especially if you can pull it off.
Well, from what I read, we were right in the assumption that these things do overheat, so it wouldn't shock me if it's like a one and done thing.
Like, it's one thing per battle?
Yeah.
I mean, granted, when they overheat, do the characters die? Or does Ouroboros just simply fade? It's intriguing.
Yeah.
However, with its ability, and judging by its design, it definitely seems like it can't take many hits, so it's pretty much very fragile, which comes into play with Senna and Lance. Now, theirs definitely looks to be more of a tanky boy.
Yeah.
And with its description, my guess is protecting their friends from powerful attacks. And one thing to keep in mind is this other tidbit. They'll be playing both offense and defense in this form, so it can take the hits and dish them out as well. And that leaves, if I were to go back to Noah and Mio, their role and their description is pretty vague. Does that mean they're in the middle? Are they jack of all trades, or is there something else going on in the background? Or does a plot convenience make them something more? Who knows? But now, Monolith has also released the main theme music that was played when the game first got announced. We're going to play you a little bit here, just so you can listen to it, if you're having a chance to listen to it yourself. As that was a strong start off for Xenoblade music. This track hasn't been given an official name yet, except for its main theme, and it was done by Mitsuda. So again, strong start from a very strong composer from a very strong franchise. So now, that is everything that Nintendo has put out. Now let's go on to something they actually don't want out. It being this tweet right here. This was tweeted by Nintendo of Europe. So, I'll read it verbatim. Soldiers of Keys and Agnes can materialize the weapons they use in battle, known as blades, at will. Each soldier's blade is a reflection of them, so they might take different forms such as swords, guns, shields, or spears. The most important note about this tweet is that as soon as this tweet went up, Nintendo of Europe immediately pulled it. This is no longer available on their profile. So that to me can mean a myriad of things. Either this particular tweet is giving some false info, something they didn't want out, period, or it could be giving slight spoilers. And in case you're curious, yes, this video is still up on News on Monolith at Twitter. It's nothing much. It just has startup animations for battle combat. Not much, but still, it's just worth noting.
Looks slick.
Very much so. Yep, at the time of this recording, Nintendo of Europe took this tweet down, but literally the next day, Nintendo of UK propped this tweet back up in pretty much the same format, the same wording, with even the same animation.
As you can see, they kept it up.
Yeah, so it's speculative in whether or not this was meant to go up in a proper time, or maybe Monolith or Nintendo has a schedule on what tidbits to release or not. And as always, because the people behind this social media, and just like anything running on Windows Vista, they are prone to error. So this could be a slight scheduling mistake, but either way, it's back up and you get to see the same animation. That said, we've seen what the characters look like as soon as they start combat. Let's look at the characters in general. This image here has been updated since the new trailer has been dropped. And of course we have the additions of new characters such as Ethel, the Giant, Ishard, I think that's how you spell it, I apologise if I'm butchering any names so to speak, and Kamaravi. And of course we do have, and this is something I'm hoping for, with this, I'm hoping this is an indication of the return of an affinity chart in game, because that's something I really loved in the first Xenoblade.
Yeah, it's a shame they took it out of 2.
Yeah, just you can see links between characters, whether they be the main party or the NPCs, but I don't know. And something to note, it also has slight references to what relationships they have with each other, whether they can fuse, as well as characters in which we have not seen before since the first trailer, as well as this person down here. And I feel like with this particular page, he is the biggest enigma that I feel like has been cleared up. Because I've seen a lot of people speculate, is this Zeke? Is this another version of Vandom? It could be anything.
And all the Rex.
Yeah, but it seems like here, that's been clarified. Just like Final Fantasy, they've got to have a Cid. Apparently every Monolith game has got to have a Vandom or someone with a V at some point.
Those lips though.
Oh yeah. Hi, this is just us tuning in, just interrupting the video briefly to say that as time of recording, we did not get this little piece of information, but literally a day later after we did the original recording of this video, Monolith, Nintendo, or whoever you want to say, they brought up some more details and more information.
Yeah.
Apparently Xenoblade leaks are daily, apparently. But you know what? I don't mind about that. But let's get into it. This character here, it's no longer speculative on who it is. It is, as you can see here, actually called a character called Vandom, which for Xeno experts or Xenoblade veterans like ourselves, Vandom is a recurring character in, well, not just Xenoblade, but pretty much in every single thing that Monolith Core has done. And if it's anything like Xenoblade 2, well, we will enjoy him while he is still around. Spoilers. Slight tangent, this is one of the reasons why you should never really use Google Translate in terms of reporting things accurately, or at least not accepting things blindly. Take this one for example. Apparently, Noah can multiply and copy himself. Apparently there's 6 clones of Noahs going around.
Ghost Factory.
Internet, do with it what you will. Now this is all such a cool idea, and I really hope it comes into play regarding the main game itself, Affinity Chart and all that. So it's nothing big. It's just something I hope comes back, and you can go over this if you wish. We are not going to do many spoilers, at least not yet.
Yeah.
So that said, let's get to spoilers. How quick of a transition was that? Now I'm gonna keep it paused on Vandom's lovely face here, just so I can make a warning right here, right now. Next few bits we're going to be going over in this video are possible spoilers for the theming, the concept, as well as a little bit of lore in Xenoblade 3. So, with that said, let's get to the deepest, the coolest, and the most awesomest place to find video game secrets and tidbits that you could ever possibly imagine. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I am talking about the invigorating concept of game ratings. You laugh. You might think, oh, what is this obnoxious British person saying? Well, actually, no. The ESRB actually has, of those of you who don't know, this is the company that rates every single game that comes out and gives them silly pictures. Yes, the images with the spider and other things, well, these guys are responsible for them. Now, these are particularly interesting because they give summaries on why they give these games the ratings that they get. So, just like the Europe tweet, I saying this verbatim. This is a role-playing game which players follow fighters through a difficult conflict between two nations. From a third-person perspective, players complete quests and engage in melee battle against enemies, e.g. animals, creatures, human boss characters. Combat is highlighted by impact sounds, explosions, and cries of pain. Ow! Sounds morbid, sounds weird. Oh, just you wait. Cutscenes, and this is the good part, cutscenes depict further instances of violence. Characters impaled by swords, a character shooting herself off screen, a man stabbing himself off screen. A handful of scenes depict blood, e.g. droplets falling from a wounded character, drips of blood from a character. Some fantasy creatures are designed with revealing armor and or autonomy, e.g. deep cleavage, parts exposed,
right time,
wood,
bam, really feeling it,
and appear in the dialogue.
So someone's gonna drop a hard S-bomb like Mallow style. You little...
And are you saying that some JRPGs, especially in Xenoblade, are a little bit risque?
Yeah.
You don't say. But all joking aside, yes, it seems like there are some character moments that might happen, and you definitely understand why it's been given a teen rating. So, it sort of spoils slight moments in the game, but doesn't explicitly say who or on what side it's from. So, I guess if you're in that kind of thing in your game, I guess you can look forward to that by all means.
I'm curious to see who the swear words come from. Is Uni gonna be like Kane?
It's gonna be, if we're talking the main six, I'm thinking it's either Uni or Senna. That little pint-sized kid shouting out F-bombs? Yeah, I can see that.
But I can remember reading that Senna's a shy girl, so...
It's always the shy ones you gotta watch out for. There might be a point in which Senna, for whether it's serious or comedic versions, just has a moment which says, you know what, that guy can go himself. And then the characters just look at Senna and go, what? I can't be pissed off too? All joking aside though, you think I'm done with this amazing world of ratings, but no, I am not. If you look to your lower left, I speak of this as like I'm a tour guide, but no, here we have another small little tidbit which says in-game purchases. Now normally I would hate this little logo because it would mean, oh great, microtransactions, you know, whether it's loot boxes or Xenobooks or whatever the hell. Normally this is loathing from all players, but seeing how it's Monolith, which unless they've gone completely insane says, you know that story or you know that character you like so much, well what if we hide them behind the paywall? You know, what if we just went completely asinine on the Xenoblade 2 Blades mechanic? Get Cosmos for just £9.99. So, again, jokes aside, this is intriguing because it means one of two things. One, Either we're going to get a challenge area, something like Xenoblade 2 has, which, you know, might give you in-game items or might give you bonuses in combat, or could even give you special characters like Shulk, Fiora, and Elma. Spoiler alert. But what it could also mean, and this is something that we alluded to at the very start of this video, this could indicate that Xenoblade 3 might be getting either an endgame expansion or a separate side story, kind of like how Torna the Gone Country was, or Future Connected. I'm really hoping that, well, ideally it's both.
Yeah.
But you know what? If it is something like, say, that ties Xenoblade 3 in with the other games, or if it's just simply an expansion of what happened afterwards, I'd be all about that. And this is just a theory on my part, by all means, but I'd like to think that maybe one of the reasons why Xenoblade 3 got pushed forward is so that Monolith can have more time to get whatever expansion they're working on out by the end of this year. It could be something. Maybe they're going full ball into saying, you know what, we are gonna get a Game Award nomination, damn it.
Yeah.
We're gonna front load this game and we're gonna be at that award show because, man, Monolith Soft has been gypped twice on the trot.
Yeah.
Not even mentioning Xenoblade 2 and not even mentioning the Definitive Edition. Shame on you, Jeff Keighley. Shame,
Yeah.
shame, shame. But ranting aside, you think we're done with, like, the little tidbits of Xenoblade that Monolith may or may not have wanted out on public? Well, it doesn't end with just ratings boards. Nope, it continues with a dead retailer. Well, at least in the UK. I don't know how GameStop is faring in America, but from what I've heard, not great. Not great. So you'd think this is just shilling out for pre-orders. Nope, you're wrong. If I had to offer a piece of advice if you're hunting for Xenoblade knowledge or tidbits, look at various retailers. They can either have unique screenshots that no other online retailer has, or it can give various descriptions like this. So, for one thing, and I wouldn't use this as verbatim because it is GameStop after all, its features is 6 characters from these nations come together. Technically, that's not actually true because we've seen in a trailer that just dropped, you can have 7 at a time. So technically that's a little bit false, but no, it's game media. What are you going to do? No, the real meat and potatoes is, again, slight spoilers for Xenoblade 3, its world and its lore. And again, it's going to be verbatim. Live to fight, and fight to live in a warring world with a dark secret. Every minute counts for the soldiers of Ionis, who are given a mere 10 years to live and fight. Join Noah and Mio, members of 2 opposing nations at the center of this conflict, on a heartfelt journey to end the cycle of violence. A group of 6 characters from these nations join together to awaken the colonies of Ionis to the underlying threats both nations face. Traverse massive, fantastical sci-fi landscapes to expose the true enemy, pulling the strings behind the conflict. So, straight off, it answers questions on why was some characters saying that they haven't got much time, or having 10 years. This gives credence to that and explains why. Apparently, people only have 10 years to, I'm going to assume, fight? Now, this brings up a question first off. Is 10 years like the extent of their lifespan, or is it just 10 years in which they're in the conflict and then they just die or perish? Because this stands to reason that Xenoblade 3 is acting on its own lore and its own logic, separate from anything that the previous games have set. Because we see characters like Uni or Lance, who are Ientia and Machina respectively, who are species that are known to have long lifespans. And you're telling me they only have 10 years? Yeah, so something's amiss there.
I mean, because it says live to fight and fight to live, which tells me that they have to fight, otherwise they'll die, so they have 10 years to fight for whoever's doing all this, otherwise they have to die. So maybe like there are 10 years forced into a service.
And then what's the final day that just capped?
Maybe.
It's really weird. But now, the biggest thing for me, and I find this to be very weird, I'll explain why. It is that last sentence that brings up a lot of question marks in my head. Traverse massive fantastical sci-fi landscapes as you expose the true enemy pulling the strings behind the conflicts. Now, seeing how this is Xenoblade 3, we have to draw comparisons between at least 1 and 2. X is a little bit of an enigma, so I'm not going to bring that up at least for now. But 1 and 2. 1 especially. I feel like this little bit of description gives away a little bit more than what I'm assuming Monolith was intending.
Yeah.
And the reason why I compare it, let's say I mostly compare it to how the original Xenoblade was marketed, presented, and just talked up, so to speak. It is about Shulk, Ryan, and whoever else. Humans versus machines. Like, it's a simple concept to understand. Like, machines invade human world, humans have to go out and defend themselves and, you know, save the species or save the world and all that jazz. And it kept it simple. Xenoblade 2 was, hey, girl wants to get to big tree, and whatever wacky hijinks ensue.
Yeah.
With this little bit of description, it could have just left with saying, hey, 6 people from 2 different nations come together and try to find peace, you know, or try to stop fighting.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that is all you needed. Or just say, why are these people fighting?
Mm-hmm.
You know, true enemy pulling strings, and we've alluded to this in our previous discussions about Xenoblade. It definitely, this gives credence to the fact that the hypothetical Melia and Nia aren't really the main antagonists here.
Yeah.
So, again, it's slight spoilers, but maybe. Yeah, I'm going to assume after the internet spoke about this, I think GameStop is trying to hide something. At the time of recording, GameStop themselves have changed their description of Xenoblade 3. It's no longer having the 10 years to fight or 10 years to live. So, weirdly enough, that's the only thing they changed. And not really the last part, in which might be slight spoilers, but hey, makes you intrigued on the slight changes that they have going on there.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, GameStop, it's the only time you're gonna be relevant.
I thought they went out of business.
No, their stock tanked. Then their stock got played with by the internet, and now they're sort of in limbo. GameStop, you never cease to surprise, disappoint, amaze. You pick. It's been a day just before we were going to release this video, but thankfully Monolith decided to drop even more tidbits, videos, and slight clips for us to enjoy. So let's get to the big thing here. So, we're not saying anything, we'll let the video play for itself.
みんな行くぞ
いつも通り行こうぜノアよかった
こっちに来やがれ
So, at that clip right there, it shows a myriad of things. Engaging combat, the fact that you can move around during combat, which means positioning is still going to be a thing.
Mm-hmm. Makes
Makes you wonder, what is the equivalent of backslash going to be? What's going to be the memeable attack of this game?
Yeah.
Still, nothing much. We get to enjoy a nice bit of an Oblivion-esque background, and I think this, I can't remember the name of this place, but I think it was called the Great Plain, if going by the translation here. And not doing that, they have released another video, so, as always, let's sit back and watch.
見つかったみたいどうする
in the same area, but it also shows that just like in any other of Xenoblade, you can still run away from enemies. And a slight little tidbit is that when an enemy spots you and you're slightly unknown by it, it goes into slightly slow motion just so it gives you time to react and to alert you that things have changed. And it would also appear like if we take a small look on the minimap here, as we get a traditional compass, as well as main story objectives and slight side quests. So, yeah, go on.
And what looks like an over-leveled monkey in the background. I thought it was Hayrid in the Territorial.
It could be. It would not be out of Monolith's scale if they brought enemies back. So, hey ho. Next thing is, we get an official name, well, sort of an official name, for the Passage of Fate beasts that we have been seeing in the previous trailer. This is apparently called a Nanimono, which I forget what it actually means when translated.
It doesn't seem to have an official translation.
Oh no, I just know that Nani is...
What?
Yeah, is what? and mono... And,
Monopon.
yeah, or mono can be translation of like one. So what one?
No, Ichi is one.
But I mean like mono or stereo.
Ah.
Again, Monolith draws inspirations from many cultures, many languages, and many mythologies. So honestly, it could be a mix. But there is a big question. Does this belong on the Kiev side or the Agnes side? Or maybe something entirely different? I'm leaning towards the latter. Still though, at least we know the name of our enemy. If I'm going to show that. Next one is a rather weird and possibly something I'm looking forward to right here. And this is a potential dodge roll. Let's see that again, and probably do it in full screen if possible. Now, is this an active bus press that you can do, or is it something in which the game does itself, kind of like an active ability? It is worth saying that. However, whilst we're here on this screen, I do want to point out something really, really nice and something that I honestly really, really love. We have seen, we've talked about, especially us, not on to no end about how this game is a mix of like 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I like that even in the UI, it is like that. Let me explain. For one thing, we have the triangle or the diamond format. That is just like Xenoblade 2. However, the arts, the arts and the cooldowns, they go around in a circle, just like Xenoblade 1.
Yeah.
So it's a mix of both UIs, and you know what? I kind of like it. It's just a small thing, but it's attention to detail that, which means they're leaving nothing behind. If they want to have a decent thing to do, then it can be decent.
And they have the character portraits, which makes me wonder if tension's gonna be a thing.
I can imagine so. But anyway, that's enough from that clip. Just gonna show it one more time because why not? And then lastly, this comes from the Japanese website for Xenoblade. This is an updated artwork which depicts a complete, well, to my knowledge, unless I'm wrong, a new depiction of both Uriah and Makona's sword, in which the sword is literally skewing Uriah. So, that's a more morbid yet awesome view to see.
If you showed this to me a couple years ago, I would have assumed it was a badly done Photoshop.
just like he's like cut out Uriah and put Makona's sword in there. I mean, to be fair, it is a nice mix. Now, the big question is, what does this mean in the overall plot? Because it also depicts the world as like kind of an island, and an island is sort of what we saw at the end of Xenoblade 2. So, Again, many questions, but hey, it's a lovely piece of artwork. I don't know what it is. I just love Xenoblade's cover art, regardless whether it's the box art or any of the promotional art. I just like this wide and vast landscape.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for it. Do you want to know how many times we have recorded a segment for this video? You know how many days have passed since we think, okay, we've done the recording, it's late, let's go to sleep, and then we'll edit it and upload it tomorrow. We've done this 3 times already! Thinking, the Xenoblade drip has got to stop at some point, but no, Monolith just says, no, have all the information! We've kept it hidden for so many years, but now here you go, wham!
We're being drip fed.
Yeah. At some point, though, the drip thread's gotta stop. Or take a break. I digress. Either way, guys, this is the third segment of this video. Third segment, wherever this gets put in the video. I do apologise. I know it's going to be hell to edit. But I digress. The latest thing to come out from today, which is the 26th of April 2022, is simply confirmed roles for each characters, confirmed mechanic returning from the original Xenoblade, as well as new official art, so on and so forth. We'll get to that in a bit. But anyway, let's start off with something that's come from Monolith Japan directly, and it's simply stating what roles they have. Attackers, good at hitting, and one thing to note, both in the description as well as in the video, which we'll play for you in just a second, pretty much confirms that, yeah, attackers are what you expect. They do the most damage, but also, the last bit, it is important how you can fight in an advantaged place while avoiding the enemy's attacks. This is a subtle hint to a mechanic, but not really. I will explain in due time. Anyway, let's play the video. So, on that video, we saw briefly that there is aggro lines in which, if you get the main attention, a constant red streaming line will be over the character. Let's see if I can capture one of those moments really quick. Yeah, you can just see it briefly here leading towards Noah. That says, 1, the aggro system is coming back, a la Xenoblade 1, although it doesn't have the aggro ring per se, as well as positional attacks. And one of the ways that this plays out is that the tank can draw the enemy's attention, and therefore you, as the attacker, can strike from the side, the back, or anything like that to deal massive damage.
And it does look like you cannot auto attack while moving, like in 2.
So, yay? I mean, maybe they thought that was a little bit broken, who knows. Either way, to quote an old meme, you find the right place to stand and then attack the weak point for massive damage. And guess what? It's a giant enemy crab! I'm old, if you couldn't tell. Anyway, from that note, we get sort of official art in this segment. Here we have subtle, but I will say charming chibi designs of each character. I don't know what it is. I just love the thought of Lance being like, I'm a tough, badass character, and yet I'm a chibi form.
Yeah.
Or someone like Uni, who has had the internet's attention for reasons, and again to be in chibi form.
It's like putting Eggle in chibi form.
Yeah. Your blade did not come deep enough. No. Or so on and so forth. And we finally get confirmation on what these icons we've seen in the character portraits in previous videos and what they're all about. As we expected, attacker, defender, aka tank, healer / support. So nothing really outstanding there, but hey, at least we know the roles, the icons, and sort of specific ways that these roles actually work.
I am a bit surprised because I thought Mio and Senna would have opposite roles that they do right now.
Really? You think she'd be a tank?
Yeah, because she likes bodybuilding and she hits hard. And Mio looks more like an attacker than a tank to me.
I mean, to be fair, you could draw the argument to say like Ryan. the big bulky dude who you think, oh yeah, sure, he hits hard, but he's actually the tank of the group. So it makes sense. I mean, I sort of agree. I see where you're coming from. But to be honest, I can see both of them in various roles.
I mean, I do think you can swap roles anyway, so it probably doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, in all honesty, I honestly would see Noah and Taeon being attackers, and maybe Mio and Uni being supports.
Well, it's always stereotypical to have a female healer, though.
I know, and if I'm going by Final Fantasy history, it doesn't end well. It doesn't end well. Not at all, especially when swords are involved. But anyway, with that said, you can have various advantages in playing them. We don't know what those are yet, but still though, it is cool to see the in-depth mechanics to a point on what these roles can do, as well as just see nice, cute, official chibi art. I can imagine, you know what, I actually wouldn't mind like having a mini Xeno series of this. It's like Xeno Chibi. But I digress. Anyway, it's more or less good stuff from Xenoblade, and we can't wait to see more.
Just you watch, there's gonna be more info that we have to deliver.
Please, not tonight. Please, no. At least give us a freaking break once. Maybe. I don't want to do this 4 days in a row. Please let this be the end! Day 4 of Xenoblade update video attempts. Oh, why must Monolith do this to us?
Drip feeding.
Yeah, I feel like I'm in a prison cell, just etching days on how many updates we've had.
I'm expecting some to drop tomorrow, to be honest.
Well, guys, if we sound more and more dejected... Oh, who am I kidding? I can't really be dejected. It's freaking Xenoblade.
Yeah.
Well, anyway... Yep, the date now is the 27th of April 2022, and yeah, more stuff has dropped. And in the last update, we had a bit of explanation on attackers. Now we have information and details on not only the defender class, we also have one for the healers as well. So, let's get into it right now. First off, let's go with the defenders, or a role in which they can play. This is a poor description, and there is a video explaining this a little bit better, but we'll give you a brief synopsis. Basically, a little bit of circles we have been seeing around the defending archetypes in the characters, where whoever it's Lance or Mio. This blue circle is actually beneficial to anyone who's inside of it, aka anyone who gets into the circle with the defender. They get not only defense up, they also get a bit of an attack boost as well. So not only can the defenders actively take hits by getting the aggro, but they can also give stat boosts to those behind him. So you know what? That's a pretty cool little design, and it gives the tank a bit more of a role, a bit more of a use. In fact, it gives a bit more support.
It's like Melia with her elementals.
Yeah, you know, that is a nice comparison. Because Melia's buffs were a range-based thing, and look what this is. They're pretty much a range-based thing. But now, from one support to another. Here we have a brief synopsis on the aggro rings, or as what it's called in this particular translated thing, the target line. It's what you expect. The person who gets the aggro, well, guess what, the line goes out to them. This also indicates the circle that's around them here. That's where you want to be in terms of having the defense. So having a healer be all alone and getting the aggro, not the place in which you want to be.
No.
No, but it's just a nice visual representation of what you should look out for and what you should probably avoid.
It's like how it worked in 2. A line would appear to Rex when an enemy spotted him.
And then it went all downhill from there. But there is now a real incentive on keeping the healer alive. And that transitions to this particular thing right here. Again from Xenoblade Japan, this is a description of the healer. Of course, you can expect it heals them. However, This is the big change from previous Xenoblades. This is a poor translation and launch in incapacitated allies. Without a healer, the enemy will attack you and your friend's HP will decrease steadily, so it's an important role. How important? This has been properly translated to say only the healer can actually revive characters. Now let me explain for those of you who are getting into Xenoblade for the first time. In previous games, whether it was 1, 2 or X, or any of the other side games you want to choose, any character, once they reach a certain condition in the battle, anyone could revive anyone. Now though, here things have changed. Of course you have 7 characters. Now that could be pretty much broken because 7 characters you could keep a lot of people alive.
Yeah.
But now though, that revive option has been limited to 1 class, and as far as we know, only 2 characters.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I don't know how I feel about only the healer being able to revive, but when you mentioned 7 characters possibly being broken, I can understand why they made it like that.
Yeah, this is also accompanied by a brief video, so we all sit back and watch it just for a little bit. And in this particular clip, we also get a good example of the defending rings, so that's all well and good. You can see how the game is prompting you to go near characters to get the buffs. Also, we have a revelation of Ansel's being back in the game. So again, occurring enemies. That's pretty cool to see, as well as the Brog in the previous image. So there is that. Also, at the very end of the clip, there's also a yellow ring around the Nopon. Now, I'm going to guess this is another buff in which we have yet to hear from. But if I had to hazard a guess from the icons and the colour, it can mean one of 2 things. Either it's a status ailment, or it could give like ether up, or just electric damage. Again, nothing out of the realms of Xenoblade has not done before.
Yeah, and I'm also noticing, like, in comparison with the levels between the Ansel and the party, then they're able to actually hit the Ansel.
Yes.
So there's no, like, level discipline, level whatever it is.
It's either that or they're completely naked in stats. And they're completely good for speed. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. Now, the next clip coming up, it is again pretty intriguing, but for various reasons. This is an elaboration on what the defender class can do, but however, we have already gone over it. But one thing to note really quick, and we'll play the video verbatim as is, but we're going to stop on our second playthrough during the first couple of seconds. See if you can spot the thing we're talking about. So yep, you saw that briefly. We get the aggro ring and how the defender can help characters out and all the jazz. But however, notice here. What do we see here? Of course, this is Noah on the far left, but this is Mio, who's holding a similar sword. So this pretty much confirms that, as we all suspect later on, people can swap classes, or they can switch roles. Now granted, we don't know if simply switching classes gives you the exact same sword, or if this is just an accessory that Mio has by default. We don't know. But either way, you can mix and match. If you want Lance to be a healer, then I guess you can have that, I suppose. But it is nice to know that even with limited roles, as in like attacker, tank and healer, you can mix and match, so you're not completely stuck in one place. So I will take that. And for the last thing, and again, this is now being recorded on the 28th of April 2022, we have the Nintendo of America. This webpage has recently just come up. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Special Edition. Now granted, this is simply an item page, a storefront. The release date, as well as the pre-order options, have yet to go live at the time of this recording. And again, this is standard, it's what all retailers do. However, it does indicate one thing. Monolith is setting up the pre-orders right now. Whether it's out for another week or waiting for 2 weeks for the pre-orders to go live, we don't know. However, it does indicate that it is going to happen soon. So, for anyone in America or anyone who wants to get a hand on these particular things, just be aware. And I'm going to shill here. If you want updates or just news about when Xenoblade 3 Special Editions go live, or when various retailers that might have an option, feel free to follow me on Twitter for all of the retail matters. I know people. Hey. It happened again.
Yep. Just as expected.
This is like what? 4 or 5 days in a row now. Oh god.
What do we even name this video?
Xenoblade 3, this date to this date, Omnibus. Or something. Because oh my god, it just keeps going. You know what? It's probably gonna go off till Friday. Because weekend. So if there is something on Friday, then god damn it.
Do we need to do like short videos of every new piece of info? Maybe that would be better.
Maybe, but we've gone this far now, so why stop? Might as well go all the way at this point. Yeah, so the date is the 28th of April 2022. Monolith have done it again. Wait, sorry, wrong emphasis. Monolith have done it again. But I digress. We have more tidbits, more drip feeds, and more insight on characters, combat mechanics, as well as a short few clips. So let's not waste any more time, because Lord knows we don't have much of it apparently. So let's get into the first one here, which is a character description of Ethel. Ethel.
Everybody's newest waifu.
ETL. Oh no, a mix of Morag and Bridge as far as I can tell, but that's besides the point. She is the commander of Kiev and Colony 4 in Xenoblade 3, and wielders of a pair of slender swords, famous for defeating 3 enemy colonies at once with only 100 soldiers at her command. Silvercoat Ethel is, as she's called, is well known for all the forces of Kiev. So, some myriad of things, let's go over here and search a short description. As we already know, but this has been like the first time it's been made official, I feel, it is the announcement of colonies being a thing in Xenoblade 3. Of course, as any classic Xenoblade fan would know, colonies are a thing, at least in the main game, so there's that. And now, at least now, we know that there is a colony 4. 3 enemy colonies apparently have fallen, so I guess that just leaves a couple more until we get to 9 or 6. Rest in peace. But again, she's well known and a fan favourite on the recent trailer that dropped, and as you can see, she looks good, as well as holding similar weapons. Not exactly like it, but it definitely reeks of Morag.
Yeah, she looks like a mixture of Morag and Jin.
Yeah, and the fact that she is a military commander of sorts, it definitely does suit the comparison. Whether it's just us or whether it's in the game, that remains to be seen. I'm not going to show this on slight spoilers for anyone who does, but her and Noah do have a sort of connection, or at least they know each other. And what context? Well, again, I'm not going to say for spoilers, but it does get referenced slightly in the trailer. But that's all I'll say on that one. Next one is about clips and character roles. First off, we get a new video here, and it is a brief clip, but it does show that just like Xenoblade 2 and Xenoblade Torna, you can switch characters on the fly. And it also comes with a bit of a bonus as well. As many things as go over there. And number one, as I said, you can switch characters on the fly. Two, we got this boy in the background there. Is he going to be a territorial return? I don't know. But a small thing to go over is that each time you switch with characters, they have a little bit of dialogue. It's a nice little character quirk. Now, granted, I don't know, and I really hope that they have more than one line of dialogue, or I can definitely see this being repetitive and possibly annoying to possible players. But still, though, it's nice character quirks, and you know what? I'll take it. Mm-hmm. And it isn't referenced here, but we do get confirmation that you can switch characters on the fly, both outside and possibly inside combat as well. Mm-hmm. So it does mean I get to have flexibility in combat as well. Next clip is a elaboration on one of the class moves here, and we talked about it briefly, how it's something that you could dodge attacks. Mm-hmm. Well, here it is here. Now, we'll just show that again, we'll do piece by piece. So, one thing there, that was the quick move. Redundant, I know, I apologise. But it shows that it's not just an active ability that is as going on in the background. You can actually move on the fly, and it does make getting to an enemy's weak point, whether it's the side, the back, or to the front, a lot easier. So, you know what, you don't move during auto attacks like you do in Xenoblade 1, but I feel like it's a nice compromise between the two.
Yeah.
And I'm going to assume it's exclusive only to the attacking class, but again, that's just speculative on my part. Next one is right here. This is possibly the yellow ring around them. Maybe that is a daze ring of effect, because it definitely does show the enemy being toppled, possibly launched, and maybe maybe being brought down for a smash attack. Again, it's really hard to say from this particular screenshot, but at least we do know that breaking, toppling, and dazing are at least back.
Yeah, because Noah's animation looks like one you do if you launch someone.
So, at least we know that is coming back. Mm-hmm. Like I said, it's a mix of Xenoblade 1 and 2's combat, so I'll take that. Next one is about the healing, and this one I feel like is a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. Just like how the defensive roles have an area effect in which they can give other characters buffs in terms of offense and defense, the healer also looks like it's been sort of nerfed in this particular screenshot. Mm-hmm. As you can see here, the range which you can heal is only done by the green ring. And now for those of you who don't know, in both Xenoblade 1 and 2, a healer just completely healed the party. Like in most cases, you didn't have to ask for it to heal like one person, or you didn't have to be in a certain position in order to heal someone. So, and not to mention the fact that there are 6 or 7 characters at once during battle. Mm-hmm. That's going to make healing, quite honestly, a hectic job. Because what if the characters... I mean, let's just take this screenshot, for example. What if Taeon, right now, is low on health, but at the same time that Lance is in a similar situation in which he's low on health? Now, either you're going to have another healer in the background that can cover both sides, or, I mean, imagine if one of the healer dies.
Yeah.
And then Uni or Taeon is going to have to do double duty for everyone else. That's going to be hectic. Will it be a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know, but I can understand how having 2 healers, it definitely balances it in some case. Because if, like, say, one healer can heal the entire party with, like, no restrictions, then yeah, I can understand that being a bit of a downside. A final elaboration on the healing aspect is this particular video here. And this one I feel like is another case of the healer being debuffed in some way. But again, I can see ye being a fair point to make. Okay, so on that then, we see a character, aka in this case Lands, being down. So, normally what would happen in Xenoblade is if you reach a certain criteria in the battle, you'd be able to revive. So, what you would be able to do is simply just go up to the character, press a button, and then boom, you're done. The character's revived, whether at full health or half health, either way. This one though, as you can tell, we have a timer. Now again, that takes a lot of time to build up, meaning the healer does leave itself out in the open for a little bit. Like I said before, it does give credence to the healer being a little bit balanced.
I just wish they showed the chain attack gauge so we can see if that takes a bar off of it or not. Or maybe it doesn't, and this is the compromise.
Maybe. And also, a second thing to note is that a slight visual aid here is if we take a look to the right, well, I guess both left and right side. If we look at Senna here, she is not looking good on health right now. And if we look at her on the right side, she has a red exclamation mark. I'm going to assume that is like saying, hey, I'm low on health. Heal me, both in the UI and found on screen. This is a new thing of Xenoblade 3, so it is a welcome addition in case it stops you from having to look at both the UI as well as the battle itself. So overall, it's a balancing act. That's for sure.
It's gonna be a lot of micromanaging.
Yeah. How it works and whether it all comes together in a nice melting pot remains to be seen. But the only way to know is by playing it. And that's exactly what we're going to do come its release date. But I just want to clarify one thing really quickly. And I never want to use the term like reporting, because I feel like, it's a bit too pompous to say, oh, look at me, I'm reporting the facts and whatnot. These are simply theories, ideas, and just speculating on what we see presented to us, whether it's official or not. So, if there is a time in which you think we have got some things wrong, if you think we've spun this in a different way than what you think, then by all means, we will never say that these are things that are true and these things are going to happen. We can only go off and analyze what we see in front of us.
Our own interpretation.
Yeah, pretty much. And you are welcome to discuss it in the comment section with us on Twitch whenever. So this is just between two people who just love Xenoblade and just like micro-analyzing everything.
Yeah.
Because it's Xenoblade. And Xenoblade is freaking fantastic.
It's like that one blade of grass in that one area, that's a reference to something in 2.
Oh god, the animations on that grass, that's just how it was in Xenoblade 2. I told you it was connected, I told you. Grass physics connect everything. But all joking aside, these are intriguing concepts and these are lovely teasers that I look forward to properly experiencing when the game drops. And we're going to have a lot of fun when it does drop, and we are going to be doing a Let's Play on it because I cannot wait for it to drop.
Yeah.
So guys, after 4 days, 4 nights of recording, editing, researching, as well as waiting for drip feeds of new info that just won't stop every time you think you're done with the video. This is hopefully going to be the last update we would have to do for at least a while. But, however, of course, if there is any other info that drops, granted I can't imagine it'll be as long as this video is going to be, but I digress. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is on the horizon. I can appreciate Monolith and Nintendo for dropping the info as much as often as they can. It is a good sign that they want to delve in deep to all of the mechanics of the game. So, again, if there's any news, updates, screenshots, videos, or anything of the like, we will be here to cover it. Granted, hopefully in a more consistent manner to this time. But until then, until the next Xenoblade information dump drops, we'll be here. And as always, thank you all for watching. If you like this video, then please be sure to like it. If you didn't like it, then why are you watching a Xenoblade Chronicles 3 analysis video that's like, what, for 30, 40 minutes long, God knows how long? And you've got to this point, why? But if you want to stay updated with all of these Xenoblade Chronicles analysis, reviews, or just news, then by all means, please do subscribe to the channel, whether it's Xenoblade 3, future release dates for other Xeno products, or hell, just Monolith news in general. We will be here to cover it. So, until then guys, I've been Lightning.
I'm Alice.
And we are patiently awaiting Xenoblade 3. And whatever the Monolith has planned for this dark majesty. Either way, I say guys then. Thanks for watching guys, see you soon. Xenoblade 3. Our wishes have come true!
Our wishes come true.